Hello, Luke here. I would just like to take a moment to disclose upfront that we sometimes talk about sensitive topics in our podcasts, and in fairness to our audience, we will try our best to put specific warnings in the descriptions of each episode. Now on with the show.
On Christmas in Paris, delightful cheers. Just the kids, you and me, and our extended families. Still, I've got all the usual fears. Overslept the first alarm, but no foul and no harm. 'Cause we got all our head counts right. Suitcases weighing down my arms. But oh my God, I think we forgot Kevin. Remembered my nieces and nephews, but not my youngest son. Oh my God, I think we forgot Kevin.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
it's Heaven
nice.
by Ryan Adams.
Nice. Nice.
Or DJ Sammy. This is the better version. Let's be real.
Oh, very good, man. Welcome to the Nostalgia Killers podcast, where we revisit films from our youth to see if they still hold up or should be inserted into the great DVD player in the sky. I'm Luc Londe, joined almost as always once again by Chuck Starzenski.
Ho ho ho, it is I, and we are kicking off the holiday season.
And joined also once again sometimes by Lauren Heney.
Hello.
And almost always some more times by Robert Negoesco.
What's up, babies?
And we're kicking off the ho 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 season with Home Alone.
Oh, we've got, in case anyone hasn't seen Home Alone, a young child must ward off burglars after being left home alone for the holidays.
If you haven't seen Home Alone, get out of here. You're not allowed to listen to this podcast.
It's pretty weird that you would listen to this podcast if you are unfamiliar with Home Alone.
It would be extraordinary to have lived your life into what's the youngest person that listens to this podcast?
Yeah.
Addie.
Yeah, no, your mid-20s or whatever, and had somehow managed not to see it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, no, everyone's welcome. This is going to be probably a adoration of the Home Alone movie beginning series.
We'll see.
But if you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Yes, watch it.
It's
a classic.
It's a classic. It's not even a product of its time necessarily. It's kind of timeless.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
an archetype.
It's not cheesy or hokey.
No,
It's kind of just. It is what it is, and it kind of feeds our nostalgia for the holiday season, I guess. I mean, it does for me, anyways.
it might be my favorite holiday movie.
There you go.
Yeah, this is on that list of movies that trick me into thinking I like Christmas more than I actually do. Like, I don't like Christmas. I like their Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the idealized version of it.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I'd love to be upper middle class in the early 90s. Have
Ooh,
that type
mama.
of Christmas. Yeah. Awesome.
I did cry today unexpectedly while watching the end of this movie.
Oh, of course.
One of those cries where you're just like lately fighting it, even though I was home alone watching the movie today, and they just kind of fell out of my eyes while I'm just like not giving in to the cry.
Did you try and push them back in?
Yeah, I just
It's before the family comes in and Catherine O'Hara and Kevin see each other.
exactly.
Yeah, of course.
And then
Of course.
the score kicked up like another higher notch as he's looking out the window to see Marley reunite with his
The other-
son and granddaughter.
Oh, yes.
The B-plot resolved.
John Williams also.
Up to 11, baby.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and start with you then, Lauren. What's your nostalgic memories of this?
I don't remember watching it for the first time necessarily. I feel like it's always just kind of been a part of the holiday season. One of my favorite holiday movies for sure. It's so good. It's also just fun. It's a fun movie that is very easily to just watch and have such a good time watching it. So that's one of my favorite things about it.
How about you, Chuck?
Yeah, I couldn't have been any older than 5 the first time I saw this movie. It's much like Lauren. It was a huge part of my childhood growing up. I've seen it countless times. This is on that, like, I know it's a Christmas movie, but this is like on that list of Christmas movies that I'm like, Yeah, it's April 3rd. Let's watch Home Alone. Like, this is just, yeah. I also always wanted to set up booby traps very similar to the ones in the film, but understood even at a very, very young age just how dangerous and honestly sick and cruel most of them are.
And completely illegal.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly, there's actually laws against it.
Against booby traps?
Yeah.
Even against burglars?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So especially against burglars.
We used to be a proper country.
I know. Because I thought this was America.
First, they take
Justice for Kevin. He's going to juvie?
Exactly. Should have spoke up. First, they took away my punji pit. And I thought,
Well, I thought that was rewatching it again. That was kind of the brilliance of his plan, was to get them caught in the other people's house.
Mm-hmm.
Got away with it scot-free, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This time I was also kind of blown away that he had the wherewithal or decided to clean up his entire house before Mom got home.
Yeah.
Which seems highly unlikely.
Little 8-year-old just mopping up all that blood.
Well, he kind of leveled up as a person, existing on his own, right? You know, he's going to the grocery store, he's learning the ritual, he's buying proper toothbrushes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not a normal 8-year-old at the end of this.
Yep.
He's, you know, potentially killed multiple men in, you know, like, he's just a different level of person. So yeah, maybe he knows how to clean up a mess now.
Yeah,
maybe,
innocence lost, you know?
Yeah.
Jeez. Talking about innocence lost, what are your nostalgic memories of it, Robert?
I mean, there's never been a time where I didn't know this movie, I don't think. It's definitely one of the most watched movies of my life. And yeah, it was always never a holiday movie. It was just a movie. It's like I watched it like I watched Aladdin or Toy Story or whatever, you know, as a kid. Just put it on, probably back to back some days. Just deep core shaped me sort of movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, still awesome.
Right on. Well, this came out in 90 when I was 10 years old, so I was about the same age as Kevin. So it was like even a little more, I don't want to say more special, but it was like I identified with it more.
Sure.
And it weirdly, I think, gave me this survival notion where I had to learn how to set booby traps and sharpen knives and do all this kinds of stuff. But I told Lauren and Chuck last week, kind of off mic, that this movie itself is part of one of the most traumatic moments of my life.
Wow.
Which I will share with all of you in the post-show.
Okay.
But yeah, I have also seen this movie probably on the order of 50 times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily, yeah.
But yeah, it's one of my favorites. Like, watching it again, it was like it never left. It's always been with me.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, really well done movie.
When I try to come up with other stories, I will be like, oh, yeah, wait, that's Home Alone. Like, things will come out and I'll be like,
am I writing Home Alone again?
Yeah, no. Yeah. That's too Home Alone. Okay, yeah.
Most nostalgic scenes. Moments. All right.
Oh, I think we're all in agreement that the sequence of them, like the final action sequence of them breaking in, and the payoff of all of these booby traps and everything is probably one of, if not the best part of the film.
I had a really hard time picking. Like, the entire thing is, every scene, every setup is just...
Yeah, pretty much across the board.
Like, just great.
I think, like, it, in terms of what people maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm generalizing here, but, like, when you think of the movie, you're thinking of this push and pull between Kevin and the wet bandits. Them trying to get in and him foiling them. And it's just a lot of the fun and the comedy. And that's definitely what pops into my mind when I think about the movie. So that's definitely the first thing that came to mind for me. But I also, on this rewatch today, really enjoyed the church scene.
Yeah, that's on my list. That's that little B plot where he realizes the old man's not a monster.
He's just a person, and they both have the same problem, essentially.
Yeah.
So that was pretty. That's one of my favorites, I think, too.
Yeah, same.
Go for it, Robert.
Both at the same time. Let's go.
So when
I think the crowning moment of the movie is Daniel Stern getting a spider on his face. It's impossibly hilarious. I don't even understand. It's one of the greatest moments in movies. It's the best scream. In movie history.
That should be up there with the Wilhelm. That should be reused.
No, it's incredible. Just everything. Like, I don't know. That when I was 3 years old, I would laugh hysterically. I laugh hysterically now. I've seen it with children. They like it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just it's I don't know, magic. Like and it's just a fucking tarantula on Daniel Stern's face. Just incredible. And then really like this time it's always part of it, the movie that they're watching, like Angels with Dirty Faces.
Angels with Filthy Souls.
Okay. Maybe that's the second one. Angels enough. With Dirty Faces is the second one or something.
No, I think that's what it's based off of.
Oh, is that a real movie? Okay, because this is not a real movie, but the way it's integrated into the plot, this time I was like, this is fucking genius. Oh, yeah. Like genius how it is laced through everything, how it's this like taboo thing that it's like one of the first things he like is able to, I'm eating junk food and watching rubbish. And then he gets like really scared, but then he like takes the power back, which is what the movie's about, right? Like taking something that you're afraid of and wielding it against your enemies, right? So he takes this fucking movie that's freaked him out. Like, you know, it's when he screams and then his mom wakes up, right? It's like this, you know, moms have telepathy with their children sort of thing, but it's like how he uses it with the pizza guy, with them, like snakes, like, you know, when Daniel Stern hears, he's like, oh god, like he's like, you know, he believes, he's like, hey man, some guy almost got blown away in there. Like, you know,
I love Joe Pesci like running through his criminal Rolodex, like,
snakes.
Well, I know scabs, I don't know snakes. Like
snakes,
he's like really,
snakes. I don't know snakes. No, that is what like really just like ingenious. Like, and I got to give that to, I mean, how it's done in the movie, Chris Columbus or whatever, but John Hughes for like writing that component to it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, also the scene with John Candy and Catherine O'Hara where he's talking about leaving his kid at the funeral.
Yeah. So good. Yeah.
Absolutely. So funny. And I can just, you see her like clinging on to like not breaking basically during that scene because they worked together often. So I imagine
they were
having a lot of fun.
SCTV people.
Yes, of course. They did go way back. Well, I never thought about that.
What you got, Chuck?
Without repeating, I would just say Kevin's independence, like major scenes of it, such as, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing anything from you, Luke, but like him shopping alone.
Yeah.
Like just like, you know, it's like buying, you know, fabric softener and all this and throwing the army men on there.
I'm 8 years old.
Exactly.
For the kids.
Oh, hold on. I got a coupon for that.
Yeah.
And then, just rigging the house to look lived in that first night when they're going to cruise by to make sure that the place is unoccupied. And it's like, oh, they're throwing a fucking Christmas party. We got to back off. Yeah. And he's got Michael Jordan on the train. Yeah. And he's got like, because, you know, it's one of those like, well, of course they have all this stuff. They're wealthy. He's just got dress mannequins. Yeah.
We're not there yet, but that's one of my nitpicks.
Exactly.
See, that was my Roger Deakins award scene because I was like, it's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I only have one more. The whole chaos of the house before everyone leaves is really well done. And really, like, I remember that a lot. And I remember it wasn't coined this back then, but what Joe Pesci's doing in there is social engineering, where he's pretending to be the police officer and pretending to be like a good person in the community when he's really just getting information.
Yeah.
And that's just like a...
Are your parents home?
It's like a lesson,
I know.
My parents live in France. Yeah. All kids, no parents. Must be a fancy orphanage.
I know, I love that line.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, I love the whole movie. There's
no dead air.
None at all.
No.
Everything is great. So on to nitpicks.
Anyone want to kick it off?
I was just curious.
Come on, what were you saying before? You know, it's the main nitpick, right?
Oh, I have a couple nitpicks actually. I have like technical ones and then, more theoretical ones. The main one is these bandits would have probably been knocked unconscious or dead.
Many times.
Oh, yeah. Kevin.
Many times.
Kevin commits homicide several times over.
Like, I feel like I'm like trying to remember the order, but they like slip and fall onto concrete pretty early on. I'm like
downstairs multiple times.
That would have taken most people out.
The paint cans to the face? Like, I want to sit down with a physicist and be like, at what speed is that moving when it hits his face?
I have just like, I know this is like an offshoot. What is your like worst one of the injuries that occurs to the bandits? Because I was like, I mean, that blowtorch to the head, I think, is the worst one. But on this rewatch, there's some feet stuff that was really toe curling for me.
I was gonna save that for the Hans Gruber death fall.
Yeah, that was mine too. It was the nail through the foot.
Yeah, that was always the one that disturbed me the most, even as a kid. It was definitely the nail, and I mean, not like. I'll take a nail in the foot over a fucking paint can to the face.
The paint can to the face is the worst one, hands down, to me at least.
Or hitting the side of the building. I mean, that is a far fall. And that's 2 full-grown men's body weight smacking you against a brick wall.
As someone who burns themselves constantly, I think the blowtorch to the head is probably the most instantaneous, painful. The other ones you'd be maybe knocked unconscious. I've also stepped on a nail before.
But was your foot covered in tar?
It was not covered in tar.
That for me is
that's
like,
different.
That's the added thing. Like, he's walking out this chemical fucking nightmare, sticking to his feet, and then there's a puncture going into his foot.
I mean, so
that doesn't heal quickly.
What does he put in the gun? What is it? It's like rock salts or whatever. What is that? Where he blasts them in the face and in the nuts?
His pellets.
Oh no, those are just BBs.
Those BB guns.
Yeah, so I mean, he got blasted in the nuts with BBs. It's just pretty bad.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to speak on that
one. I'd still take that over tar covered foot with a nail going through.
Yeah.
I think the blowtorch is my personal worst.
Yeah, that's the one that would traumatize Joe Pesci, where he would wake up in the night screaming, thinking about how his head was burned and there's no skin on the top of your head anymore.
And then he dives into the snowbank and it's like...
Yeah.
The one that I've always thought is like the sickest is, even when I was a kid, it always like grossed me out, is the doorknob.
Yeah.
Because it's just literally flesh fusing to metal because it's so hot, and he has to rip his hand off, and then he's been branded
with the McAllister M.
It's in the sequel.
I know.
It gives the villain a scar that the hero gave them. It's like fucking Shakespearean shit.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also directed by Chris Columbus.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah.
And also scored by
John Williams.
Does anybody else make movies?
Fucking hell. No, we don't care
Does
about
anybody else need to?
Somebody else is given all that money? Come on.
And then, like, there's, like, the whole, like, I know they keep remaking these and they've found foils in modern times, but I'm just like, this could never happen now because of a cell phone. Or
totally.
Are you telling me there is not one single friend, one single neighbor, one fucking acquaintance that you can call to go scoop your like 8-year-old son? Like,
the negligence of the police in this film is pretty interesting.
Astounding.
There's no positive depiction of police. They're only like messing things up, or like, was your child been like, I'm not listening to you. Basically, that guy eating that delicious looking jelly donut.
Yeah. Oh, love him.
Yeah, he's great.
And the last thing that I'll just say, and this has to do with things that we've talked about already, is everybody's fucking screaming in this movie. There's so many screams. Just again and again and again. Kevin screams, mom screams, the burglar scream. Too much. The screams lose their power after a while, I find.
That's kind of how I remember the 90s.
Screaming?
Just screaming. There's no other outlet. We didn't have the internet or cell phones.
Just screaming into a void.
You're like torment and like that's the way you got it out. Just screaming at people across the house.
Stand in the snow and scream.
Yeah.
Okay. Kids today will never understand anguish outlet.
All right, then I'll rescind that nitpick. As genuine representation of a time I can't quite remember.
Yeah. I didn't flag it. So I was like, yeah, it's normal.
Okay.
You got any more, Chuck?
Yeah, I've got one like actual cinematic change, and then I've got a question basically. So my big like nitpick is this movie there's a little bit that could be cut down in this movie.
How dare you?
Because I didn't remember this until this rewatch.
Okay.
There are 2 aftershave burn scenes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't need to do it twice. Like, I think it's stronger and a better bit if he only does it the one time.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he does the bit where he's like, my favorite of the 2 is when he's basically vlogging before vlogs.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, first I, washed with this and that. Then I put on this beautiful cream and I shaved.
He's
and I did
having
all this.
his American Psycho moment.
Exactly. Yeah. He's literally he's Patrick Bateman. Which, I mean, actually, maybe we'll save that for a controversial
Macaulay would have done a
take.
pretty good job, actually.
Yeah.
If Christian Bale hadn't been available.
Exactly.
I would have accepted.
But yeah, he does that. And that one is like where the comedy gold is in that Scream. And then he's just doing the same routine, but now he's singing White Christmas, and then he does it again. He's like, and it's like, well, you know this is gonna happen to you.
I think that perhaps they did several versions of
they
that,
did takes, yeah.
and then they decided like this is too precious. We have to throw this in as well.
I think so too.
I mean, and just for the context, that is the image of the movie.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say,
And something that extends beyond the movie itself. Like Kevin with the screaming with the hands on the face is like in the top 10 of moments of the 90s.
Yeah,
you know
most
what I mean?
iconic bits committed to celluloid, basically.
And I don't know. I'm not justifying it. It is interesting that that it does do it twice, and then that becomes like that's like, it's as Bart Simpson or something.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a nitpick in this perfect movie, basically.
It didn't need
you're right.
to happen twice to be entered into like cinematic iconography, essentially.
I don't think it did. No,
I can see that, but I disagree. And then it's only because it was the poster, the commercial,
exactly,
the radio ad. It was everything. Yeah.
And then my one question that hasn't been asked yet. Never mind the adults who are incompetent. Why won't Kevin tell a single person that he is alone and there are 2 men trying to break into his home and kill him, potentially? Because like he speaks to Mr. Marley.
He's a lone wolf.
He is a lone wolf. No, I know. That's going to get into my controversial takes and whatnot. But yeah, it's just like, it's this insane thing where it's like he interacts with so many adults, and it's like there could have been a moment too where it's like, hey, Santa Claus, like I know he tells Santa he doesn't want presents, he just wants his family back, but it could have been like, you aren't Santa, but you have a connection to the magical mythical man. Save me. For the love of God, save me. Because that's also that's like getting down to the wire when he speaks to Santa Claus, that he's like, oh, these guys have tried to break into my home multiple times now.
Yeah.
So that's my question nitpick is just like, never mind like the incompetency of adults and police.
Yeah.
It's just like, why doesn't this young boy just like,
he made a wish, he dug his own grave.
My interpretation was that he thought he was being punished, and it was on him to like just deal with it himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
there is wish magic
you can
involved.
Relate to.
There is.
But my last one is there should have been way more blood and gore. From all of the booby traps. Like the foot thing was gross enough, but there should have been like blood.
So much blood.
And like and tar. And
all
like
of the head
over.
injuries should have been like bleeding profusely.
Shattered jaws. Yeah.
Stepping on ornaments. Like, just
should be
like
blood everywhere.
Blood
It should
everywhere.
be like a fucking
gory
blood
horror movie.
It really should. Time for a remake.
On to the rainy day pairing. What would everybody else watch with this?
Goonies was the first thing that came to mind, just because of like similar vibes, shenanigans,
Booby traps.
Booby traps.
That's right. Yeah, it's that
and criminals.
It's
the Fratellis.
Yeah. I didn't even like analyze it. That was just like the first thing that I thought of, but it's really similar energy in terms of just around the same time period, and it's like kids on a mission, and it's an adventure story. I love adventure just like as a genre, and I think there should be so much more of it, and like, love it.
Do you know what's really cool about the very ending of it?
Shot up Goat Rock Beach.
That's right.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until recently, until I've actually spent some time out at Goat Rock with you guys, and it's like,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's right where it happened.
End of the damn movie. I've actually been to Astoria and up to the other places where they filmed. And it's like, we didn't have to go that far. It's right here.
Yeah.
So,
One-eyed Willie's here.
yeah, that's right. What about you, Chuck?
So I've got two. So I've got the one that I actually wrote down, and then I've got one that will fulfill some of your questions and desires. So the one that I wrote down that is my actual rainy day double feature is Problem Child 2.
Okay.
All right.
So, you've got both movies being about precocious little hellraisers getting over on adults. And as far as Problem Child is concerned, the sequel's just better. Double the kids, double the hijinks, double the parents even.
Is that the one where they speed up the spinning thing? Okay.
That's That's the good one.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And then
I'm totally unfamiliar with it.
Problem Child is great. So
Is
it's
it-
John Ritter having a son who is literally basically Damien. He is basically the Omen,
Yeah.
but
It's the Omen.
Yeah.
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy horror?
No. Just like
comedy.
it's played like this. Like it's like, oh, you little scamp, you like hot glued like my ass to this chair and now I can't get up. And like, why did you do that? Because I'm a
He's like a
sociopath.
demonic monster,
Yeah, exactly.
not Kevin. Kevin is fine. This guy's not
Kevin is
okay.
pushed to a limit. This kid is just
He
this.
chooses it.
Yeah.
He chooses the violence?
Yes.
And then speaking of choosing the violence, my other pairing would be Better Watch Out.
Okay, I don't know that one.
I do.
It's
I know that.
not incredible just because of like some of the stuff that happens in it, but it literally it does answer the question like what happens when a paint can gets thrown Home Alone style.
Oh, okay.
It's about home invasion, kids protecting themselves, yada yada, all that fun stuff, but it is Home Alone as a horror movie.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And like babysitter trope.
And
thrown
babysitter
in.
tropes and like
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's super fun. I have a lot of issues with it, but that being said, I still highly recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think definitely problematic, but
It's just super
such an
sexist
interesting
and kind of
like
shitty.
Okay.
it's such an interesting exploration. Like if they had just made a couple different choices, it would have been like really, really cool. But
Yeah, it was one of those where I was very excited to show Lauren. I was like, dude, this movie's so dope. And like, it was a nostalgia killer moment. It was like we were
I'm
watching
like,
it.
hey,
And then I just like had to look at her and be like,
hey man.
so I don't think about women that way, like every 2 seconds, like just to reiterate. I do not share the views of, I'm not excited to show you this because I'm like, we need to put them in their place like that. I'm showing you because of the fun things that happen in this movie.
Right.
For me, kind of in that vein, I said Straw Dogs, which is also home invasion, also misogynistic, I guess, or I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it, but that's Dustin Hoffman, and I'm not going to give you the plot of that movie, but at the end, he does fight off a bunch of people and make a bunch of booby traps in a house, and is definitely an inspiration for this movie.
I bet.
That and Nightmare on Elm Street, which also has the booby traps. So,
Right on.
I was kind of being a little cheeky with the Straw Dogs, but that's a fun day.
Well, mine's kind of left field, but it's tied into the whole trauma thing. But it's King Ralph.
With John Goodman.
John Goodman. Mm-hmm. You haven't.
That's like the poster is in my head. I have not seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I was going to rewatch it for this. All right, he's fine. He'll turn himself down later.
I'm going to turn myself down.
You're hurting my ears while we're recording.
He's like some guy from Pittsburgh who becomes king or something.
Yeah, he's there's it's not spoiling it because it happens in the beginning of the movie, but the entire royal family, it lines up for a photo, and it's raining, so all the flashes like shock and kill everybody, and they have to search for an heir to the throne of England, which happens to be John Goodman, who's in like Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, something like that. And it's like a fish out of water thing. It's an American goes over, has to be king, has to be taught how to be proper and royal and all that.
It's a Yankee in King Arthur's court.
Yeah,
Like the Mark Twain.
It's also like What a Girl Wants, starring the seminal Amanda Bynes.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I
what a
quoted
legend.
Samuel Clemens. It's more like Amanda Bynes.
But yeah, no, that's me. And we'll move on to this movie's cocktail.
Yeah. So, in honor of one of Robert's favorite things about the movie, Angels with Filthy Souls, we've got the Filthy Animal. So we've got 3/4 ounce gin, 3/4 ounce of lime, 3/4 ounce of Luxardo Marichino, 1/2 ounce of Green Chartreuse, 1/4 inch of Fernet Branca, and a pinch of salt. Shake it and put it up just like your hands, Snake. You see, Acey ain't around no more, so you got till the count of 10 to finish this drink and beat it.
Johnny, I'm sorry. I'm going.
Fun fact, the name of our Wi-Fi is also Filthy Animals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think we were setting it up when we were watching.
We were watching
what's
Home
the
Alone.
There you go.
What's the password? No.
Something so horribly disgusting that I will not repeat it on mic.
Also, I hope you don't repeat it on mic.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But also, if you subscribe to us on Patreon, I'll give you my web key.
It's really good, Chuck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
One of my
Very tasty.
favorites.
And with that, we'll go on to our first ad break.
Ad break.
And we're back with Act 2, The Evidence Board. So this came out on 16 November 1990, just in time for the Christmas season. Just in time for...
Oh,
What's that?
go ahead.
What do you got?
Oh, sorry. I thought that was like a pitch to be like the thing in the... We can take that again.
No, it's fine. No, this was, I'm pretty sure it was right before the launch of the first Gulf War.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the thing that people who were just born around this time or didn't live through it didn't realize what was happening. There was this built up for like 2 years, and then like right around this time it just started launching off. Or it might have been like 6 months before, and it was going on. So like it was a prequel to our 2000 invasion.
Yeah.
And it was just fucking nuts. The country was weird. What do you got for context, Chuck?
Well, now, the country was weird. It was so weird that in 1990, at the same time Home Alone was being released, you had Child's Play 2, Rocky 5, and Dances with Wolves all in theaters at the same time.
Rocky 5 was in 90?
90.
Oh my, I just watched that the other night. I did not remember that being that old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Wow.
I thought that came out in like late 90s or 2000.
No.
Jesus. All right. My context is way off then. For Rocky anyways.
This movie cost $18 million.
Oh my God. What did it gross?
It broke
is
the
still
Guinness
making money.
Book of World Records for most worldwide gross, correct?
Yeah. Worldwide, $476 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Gross gross is 285. So like,
I mean, they're still raking in money
yeah.
from this
yeah.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's on every channel. It's downloaded on streaming every year and will be forever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Craziest investment of $18 million you could ask for.
Yep. Written, as we spoke earlier, by John Hughes. Directed by Chris Columbus.
Scored by John Williams.
John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of John Williams, during production, Hughes and Columbus joked about getting John Williams, like, just kind of like, oh, we're making this like hokey, fun, like family movie about a kid like fighting robbers. Like, we'll get John Williams to do it. Williams ended up stepping in after the original composer dropped out. And so like they didn't reach out. It was the studio. The studio was like, we're Universal or whatever.
Start at the top.
We're
right?
going to ask. Yeah.
Start at
get
the top
the
of the
guy.
list. Yeah.
And that theme is...
Na, 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 na,
Well, there's that one. That... Yeah, that's incredible.
This movie was the highest grossing action comedy of all time until it was usurped by, can anyone guess? The Hangover 2.
Oh, The Hangover 2.
Weird.
What the?
Yeah,
I laughed at those. I have like almost no respect
We're in
for
a
them
weird
now.
place in our country's history when those came out too.
Hughes approached Chris Columbus to direct, but he was already directing another John Hughes written movie, Christmas Vacation. So he's like, he had to pass.
Wow.
But just barely into production, he had an awful altercation with Chevy Chase. And so Chris Columbus was like, you know what? Fuck Christmas Vacation. Can I do that Home Alone thing?
So he didn't direct Christmas
He
Vacation?
did not, no.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But he got he was there, he was on set, they were shooting, and then it was just like, nope, I can't deal with Mr. Chase.
Thank you for being a dick, Chevy.
I think
Yeah.
this is like very fortuitous because this is like in leading into him going into starting the Harry Potter franchise. And it's like he clearly has like prowess and talent with working with directing young actors and directing them effectively and like kindly.
I believe he and John Hughes were like kindred spirits in that way, for sure. They both understood how to do it.
And even John Hughes is teens, right? You know, and it's like when you do look at Harry Potter, it's a very young child, and that is a risky move, right? To center this huge thing around that. But it's like they did get the guy who made the most successful little kid movie ever, right? Like, and that's correct. That's what you do.
Yeah.
He does the first 2 Harry Potter movies while they are like 11, 12, 13 in that age range. And then it sort of goes on to other directors.
Alfonso Cuarón.
Love Prisoner of Azkaban.
That's the best one. I mean, sorry.
It's fucking sick.
Sorry, Chris Columbus. That one's rad as fuck.
John Candy's scenes were all shot in one day. He also did the film as a favor to John Hughes and was only paid $400.
I want to interject here that they say it's one day. It was a 23-hour day, though.
Okay.
So is that like a day?
No. That's 2 long days on a set.
Exactly.
But wow, what a powerhouse. I mean, did John Hughes Planes, Trains, Automobiles?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Uncle Buck.
Oh,
so they had a history. Yeah.
Okay.
So in addition to the pay cut, one of the stipulations for Candy doing the movie was he did not have to follow the script. So 90% of everything out of his mouth is improvised.
Yeah.
Polka King of the Midwest.
Right.
Polka, everybody. No?
No?
You polka, I polka. No, you don't?
A lot of hits in the early 70s.
I love how he doesn't let that go. I love how he's just like, okay, well, she doesn't know polka, but she has to know everybody polka, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Kiss Me Polka with a Twist.
He's based off a real character, too. Do you guys know about the Polka King?
I think so, yeah.
No.
That's a crazy story.
It's a fun one, yeah.
Okay.
It's really silly.
Okay. More John Candy on the podcast.
I know, absolutely.
I'm pro that.
It's time.
Yeah.
And then my last really fun fact is Joe Pesci swore so much on set and so frequently in front of Macaulay Culkin that basically production had to stop and he had to be spoken to several times about it. So the gibberish that he mutters in the movie was an attempt to curb his constant swearing.
Oh.
So like off camera, he was like, and they were like, oh yeah, just do that in the movie too.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, make it work for your character. If you have intention, it'll work.
Yeah. There you go.
You got any other fun facts?
I don't.
I have one that stuck with me from, I don't even know what, but when Kevin pulls out Buzz's girlfriend's picture, it was felt
woof woof.
Exactly. It was felt that it would be like insanely cruel to take a picture of just like an actual teenage girl and have her be like maligned in the film.
Right.
So it is a picture of the art director's son in a wig and makeup.
Oh, wow.
Which I just think is delightful.
Can we just mention that Joe Pesci in September of 1990 is in Goodfellas? 2 months later, this. Holy fuck. Wow.
Man is a powerhouse.
Dude. Wow. Like 2 of the most iconic movies of all time.
He had a run from 85 to like 94 of just...
Oh, yeah. My Cousin Vinny's 92.
Year after year, yeah.
But like 2 months apart. Whoa, dude. Whoa. That beats Jim Carrey's 3 movie 94. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pesci was busy at the time, man.
Wow.
I was talking to Chuck and also a couple of people, but I really do associate especially the Thanksgiving holiday with Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and The Departed.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I think I was house sitting somebody who had a cable and they were marathoning The Godfather, and then I just started like looping in more of these movies that I enjoy that are similar genre. So Joe Pesci is definitely a part of my Thanksgiving into Christmas always.
No, those are I mean, this is a big tangent, but those are all huge family movies. I mean, because they are about family, but they are like Like, Goodfellas is a weird fucking experimental movie.
I fucking love Goodfellas so much.
Why do families gather yearly to watch this weird experimental gangster film? It's like, whatever. Anyway.
That's a different pod, probably.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Goodfellas. Let's do Goodfellas.
Oh, we're doing, it's Gangster-thon is coming. Don't worry.
That's upper echelon stuff. We're kind of slowly picking away at the top of the tree as we go through this.
Got some fun alt casting. Danny DeVito, Robert De Niro, and John Lovitz all turned down the role of Harry.
All right.
Wow.
So, Joe Pesci won that one.
So, wait, it could have been Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro just crushing 1990.
Yeah, exactly.
Under their boot heels. These shoes.
They're made for walking.
Yeah. Wow.
Chris Farley auditioned for the role of the, Rent-a-Santa.
What?
But was turned down.
What the
he wasn't known yet.
He wasn't known yet,
He was just on SNL?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, barely. He was. I don't think even then yet.
No, I don't think by 90 he was on.
No, he came on in 95, 96.
Wow. Okay.
The role of Uncle Frank was written for Kelsey Grammer. But unfortunately, his shooting schedule didn't work with the film because he was still doing Cheers and stuff like that. So he's just like, Cheers is my bread and butter. I'm sorry, I can't risk Frasier, Cheers for a fucking kids movie.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
When did Frasier start?
About that time. I mean, it was Cheers ended in 89?
No. 92 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so Cheers was still definitely.
Okay, I never watched it, but I guess Frasier came on a year after or two after that. They tried to push that.
And then my
character.
last one that I didn't fact check, but is really fun. So I don't know if it's true. A young John Mulaney was considered for Kevin.
Ooh.
Because John Mulaney was a child actor who was in a children's comedy brigade sort of thing, almost like a pseudo Mickey Mouse Club kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that. He would have worked.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah.
One of the things that I read was that this was written for Macaulay Culkin after he did Uncle Buck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they did audition a ton of people and then ended up back with the original choice.
Just to go through the motions, I'm sure.
I still love the idea of Mulaney. I made my family disappear? I made my family disappear. Well, I better go buy some microwave mac and cheese, I guess.
Fucking Home Alone with Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, exactly.
Actual question. Is he canceled or no?
Mulaney?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
I mean,
I
don't think he's canceled.
Dumped his wife and then...
Yeah, he did some shitty things, but he's owned up to them, I think, is the trick that he's not canceled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that before or after rehab?
Exactly. He was also on a lot of drugs is kind of also the thing of that. And he sought help and he admitted his way. I don't know. I'm not the cancel police. I don't know if he's actually canceled
or not. If white men
not.
say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. They stick out your hand and you get to slap it.
Yeah.
Just a little bad little boy. Okay, cool.
On to the usual suspects.
Yeah.
You got some fun ones in here, I'm sure.
Oh, I got...
You got one?
While I was waiting for you guys to come over, I was like, I'm going down this rabbit hole. So there are a lot. Kieran Culkin was in Father of the Bride with Steve Martin. Eugene Levy was also in Father of the Bride, and Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara were in many.
SCTV on. Yeah.
Yes. And Catherine O'Hara is also in Beetlejuice.
Yep.
Steve Martin and John Candy worked together.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Hughes.
And Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn were together in the movie The House Sitter, and Goldie Hawn is in Overboard.
There you go.
Damn.
Nice.
And
you went full Charlie on this. I'm looking at this book here.
Wait till I show you my Thanksgiving plan, too. John,
Overboard, an earlier episode of this podcast, which you should listen to.
Absolutely. John Williams wrote the score for E.T., which starred a young Drew Barrymore, who starred in The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler, who was featured in 2 episodes, at least, of this podcast. Billy Madison and...
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
And Drew was also in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Yeah.
There you go. Scarlett Johansson is in Home Alone 3, which was also written by John Hughes. And she is in Ghost World.
Yep.
And then Macaulay Culkin is in Saved,
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we got it. That's one. That's an obvious one. Damn.
Also, Jurassic Park is John Williams, too.
Yeah.
So that's as far as I got.
Damn.
That's
Nicely done.
really
Very
going down the John Williams is like a porthole into essentially every single movie that's ever been done because
Yeah.
Star Wars universe, just all of it. And
You get some, Chuck?
I got 2 that she didn't mention. I've got Michael C. Morona, our boy,
Yeah, that's right.
the lighting grip.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Big Pete.
Big Pete.
Pete.
Big Pete is in this. He was in 40 Days and 40 Nights.
Yes.
And then my other one is Larry Hankin,
Yep, we got him too.
who is the crisis center cop, who's
yeah.
like, oh, that sounds like a job for the police, and knocks on the wall. I love that bit, by the way.
What-
when they
what
just
was
keep
he in?
passing it. He's in Billy Madison.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the handler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? He had the Triscuits in the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also, if you've seen it more recently, Breaking Bad. He's the junkyard
yeah.
caretaker with the gray and frizzy hair.
He's also like a reoccurring regular on Friends, too.
Okay.
Of like a grumpy neighbor, basically, who they
yeah.
think is like a serial killer or something
What a
like that.
guy. What a guy.
I have one more. One of the other siblings is Jeffrey Weissman. He was Mitch. And he's the Mitch. He's the guy, the kid who gets miscounted.
Oh, and he's
I love that kid.
Yeah, he's an Overboard. He's one of the 3 little boys in Overboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it
That was a deep dive right there.
Have fun. Bring me back something French.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that it's like, what are you guys doing? And then it's hard cut to he's sitting in the van with the guy, and he's like, what does this do? What are you doing over
I don't
here?
know, kid. I don't know, kid.
Oh, the other one was that John Williams also scored a couple movies that Tom Cruise was in, who obviously was in Mission Impossible.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely endless. I think John Williams' connection could just be like
Oh yeah.
a fractal effect outward.
Yeah. It's he's a fractal for sure.
You got your over?
No.
Okay. And with that, we'll thank our executive producers. At the moment, it's just Addie Martinez. Thank you, Addie.
Thank you, Addie.
And if you would like to be thanked live-ish on air, it's a $15 pledge on Patreon. Patreon.com/The Nostalgia Killers.
Also speaking directly to Addie Martinez.
Yes, Addie.
I swear to God, Addie, we're going to put out more episodes for you. We love you.
Completely my fault that they're not up on YouTube. I just need to sit down and do it, crank it out, and we'll get those to you. And I'm sorry, boss.
Please don't leave us.
Yes.
We'll make it up to you, I swear.
With that, we'll take our second ad break.
Second ad break.
And we're back with Act 3, the award categories. We start off with my new band name. My new band name.
I got a bunch.
One.
And Robert can have several.
Okay.
Chuck's cut off.
Thank you.
No, I'm just kidding. Chuck's been very understanding and respectful of
The band name category.
picking 3 and,
Yeah.
and letting it go.
I pick 3, I let it be. That's my rule.
I have one. May I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Les Incompetents.
Yeah, that was
So
one.
good.
That was on mine.
I picture this a la Boy Genius as like indie superstar boy group coming together.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was an art rock band, but yes, either
Essentially.
one.
Yeah.
Les Incompetents.
Did they just sing off key and just knock their microphones over? Or
That'd be such a good bit.
What about you, Luke?
my one is Big in Sheboygan. And it's a polka band for sure. That's yeah.
I have They Never Found the Bodies, which is a death metal band. Also, Turn the Bodies into Mummies. That's a black metal band.
You know.
You're Such a Disease. Basically, the rest of them are just punk bands. You're Such a Disease. Families Suck. Never Too Old to Be Afraid. That might be an album. Okay. Yeah. Kids Are Stupid. I just think that'd
That's
be
also
a
an
fucking.
album.
Wouldn't that be? No, I think that should be a band. Yeah. That's a fucking great band name. People are like, what? Kids Are Stupid. Yeah. Fancy Orphanage, of course. Mm-hmm. The Filthy Animals. And Go Easy on the Pepsi.
There you go. I like that one.
I like that one a lot. As I said, Leaves of 3, let it be. So I've got 3. I've got South Bend Shovel Slayer.
Yeah.
They're a thrash metal band.
Yeah.
I've got Gold Tooth Glint. They're a hip hop duo in reference to Joe Pesci's Gold Tooth.
Okay.
And then my last one, already a band in the universe of this movie, but I'm just repurposing it. We've got the Kenosha Kickers, and they're a ska band.
We kind of got rid of this category, but I wanted to. I had something for it. So the updated movie title. If you don't have one, that's fine. I don't think we took it off the list yet, but
I think it's it's like it was a ghost last time.
Need to do some admin, but for me, I have your parents do what exactly to afford this house?
Yeah,
that's my title for this movie. The question I had the entire time watching this is like, huh?
Yeah, the McAllisters are probably evil.
Yeah. At least they are presented in the context of the movie as wealthy, where the movie isn't just going like, this is what your family's supposed to be.
Yeah, this is what everyone should have.
Yeah, it's like they're being robbed for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
And they are like, that's the silver tuna. Like, that's the house. Like, they got all of it. So it's like they are either supposed to be way upper middle class or just straight up rich, even by 1990s movie standards, which are way skewed from reality.
Oh, yeah.
I also caught this time that when mom is paying the pizza boy and talking to Joe Pesci's cop persona, she says that the uncle who lives in Paris has paid for them all to go fly to Paris, which is something
Uncle Frank?
No. The other uncle.
Oh, okay. He's too cheap.
He is too cheap. And then the older hot cousin is their daughter. And everybody else is split between the two families who live stateside.
Okay.
So that's something that's all I've like bumped on throughout like all my previous times watching is I'm like, even back then, like 2 adults and 5 kids flying to Paris. The parents are in first class.
Yeah.
That is that's at Christmas.
Yeah. Do we ever meet? We don't meet this other uncle.
You see the uncle and the aunt in the Paris equation briefly in one background shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
where
wow.
Uncle Frank is distributing a shrimp cocktail to the kids, and they're like, Frank, we were gonna say that first, and he's like, oh, and just like gives it out to all of his children who, don't.
Uncle Frank is wonderful.
What a turd.
Yeah, he's so good.
Oh man! Also, that actor is wonderful.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Anybody else got anything for this?
I don't, because I thought we killed it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fine. I forgot and I kind of had something anyways. So
Home Alone is so classic.
Yeah, it's a perfect title. I think
it's totally functional and memorable. So.
Yeah.
On to the Roger Deakins Would Be Proud Award for cinematography. Lots to look at in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of warmth to it.
Yeah.
I think it is kind of shot like an action movie when the action is actually happening. Like when Kevin is running with the toothbrush, he like slides across the ice skating situation, and like you see him go in between this person's legs, which I really enjoyed that shot. Or even when the like assault on the family home is happening, the way that the camera moves, like the zip line or the paint cans, it's like very
super kinetic.
Yes, kinetic. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. So not one single thing stood out to me, but overall, just incredibly well shot.
Yeah, perfectly competent and masterful.
The lushness and the warmth of the whole thing, like when it's supposed to be warm, it feels, that's like, obviously it's writing, setting, all that stuff, but like it's so cozy.
Right.
And it evokes, it's like almost part of what a Christmas movie needs to have. Not the whole time, but like it needs those moments of like, I want to be there. And it's like the house is so warm.
It's got all the things from the classic Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Like the chestnuts roasting by the open fire, that sensation that song gives you is visually in the movie.
Wasn't there like specifically special light used?
Oh, I don't know.
I was just thinking Christmas lights, the cold snow outside, and the warm
the tungsten
insides.
lighting. I think the bathroom scene with the shaving looks amazing. There's something about it. It just is very bright and cheerful. The church scene is crazy. Like, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's the location, but also like how they lit it. Everything is amazing. And then, I already mentioned the like silhouette stuff, which is like, I think super well done. Yeah. Like that cut from outside their view to then Michael Jordan going by and then him dancing with the like mannequins and stuff is like crazy masterful filmmaking, just to pull off, because it's effortless. It's one cut and you're like, I understand everything that this kid is doing. This whole thing, it could have stopped after like 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, and you would have been like, yes, I get this. Really well done. And then, I mean, all the stunts and stuff is wild.
You got anything, Jack?
Yeah, I got 3. I've got the West Wing style hallway tracking shots of Kevin interacting with the older kids in the intro.
Yeah.
When they are like, calling him les incompetents and like telling him he's a disease and all of that. It's just fun. The evil furnace push in.
Sure.
Like when he's first going down to the basement alone for the first time. It's just like,
shot.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful
horror
shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then my last one, just because it's just so iconic, it's Marv's head popping in through the doggy door when he first takes a bullet to the face.
Oh yeah, it's if you watch it closely, it's probably on like a 16 millimeter lens. It's like a super wide angle, super close to his head when it comes through.
Yeah. Also, the fire on Joe Pesci's head. Is like, whoa, this is crazy. How is this done? I don't know how that.
Yeah, because that's Joe Pesci in frame.
Yeah, I don't know how that shot is done.
Well, he's got a hat on, so he's got like.
Yeah, but they're not just blasting him with fire.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, it's completely practical. He's got the cap is what's protecting him.
Wow.
If you go back and watch it, he doesn't move before the fire hits. He's like set, and then they do the fire. Before that, they cut away and watch him.
Whoa.
Begin. Yeah, it's real.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe taking one for the team.
Yeah, I guess so. For me, it was I didn't notice until watching it this last time, but and it's to be expected, but a lot of the shots are from Kevin's point of view, so the camera is actually lowered down to about half of a human size, and like all the ways that we look at the adults is from below, and it's just a great like setting. Even when it's not Kevin there, we're looking up at Joe Pesci, when he's a cop.
Yeah.
It's like
the whole kitchen scene with the pizza and stuff. Look what you did, you little jerk. Like all that, the way they're all framed, and it is like very like unpleasant. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like everyone is looming over you.
Yeah, I thought
and like telling you are a problem. You know, and it really does like get evoked from that scene.
Yeah, they did a really good job of catching a child's perspective.
Yeah.
With the camera.
Yeah, good catch.
Thanks, man. On to is that Channing Tatum in a dog collar award?
I caught Kieran Culkin.
Kieran's
of course.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I'd clocked before.
He looks very nothing like Macaulay in this.
No, but he does look like himself, and I, in the past year watched like the majority of Succession, so that was there. And then Larry Hankin, who we talked about earlier as the social service cop person, whose fun fact name is Officer Balzac.
Yeah. In
the film, that was like, I was like, that guy.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Speaking of Succession, I got Hope Davis as the French ticket agent.
I got her too.
Which like, I was like watching it and I was like, I know that woman. I know this like very bit part, like, I am sorry? No.
Yeah.
Like just very like bad French accent and just like, yeah.
She's in Mumford, which is that movie I keep bringing up. She's like the love interest / other star. But she's also, I finally watched Asteroid City.
Yeah.
And she's in that too. And I didn't recognize her in that. She's great. Yeah, that was mine as well. Runner up, John Candy. Just cameo. Cameos.
The Can Man.
Yeah.
So good.
And on to it's a sailboat award. I got the good shits in Buzz's room.
Yeah.
That's my lesson I learned from.
It's got firecrackers, porno mags, like a ton of money apparently.
Yeah.
It didn't look like that much money.
I know, but it's enough to like sustain Kevin for like these like few days that he's.
Yeah, in a very successful economy.
Exactly.
I think that. I think the obvious sailboat is like, meaning of Christmas and togetherness and that kind of thing. But I think we're really watching a journey of self-actualization.
Yeah.
Kevin is treated like a baby by his entire family. Les incompetence. He is incompetent because he's never had to do anything. And when his family disappears, he self-actualizes and is able to become, for a 9-year-old, more of a fully rounded human being and starts taking care of himself. He also widens his perspective by being able to see his neighbor who he had feared in a new light, and also being able to take care of the home, overcome his personal fears, like the radiator.
Shut up.
Yeah. Love that moment.
Did his own laundry. Researched the healthiness of his food he bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The toothbrush is
I don't know why I've always loved that line.
Is this ADA compliant?
Is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association? I don't know.
So, yeah, I think that's the sailboat, actually, is, as much as the support of family is like such a blessing, sometimes you need the absence of that to know who you truly are and fully appreciate it. So I guess it all ties together.
Yeah. You don't know what you got till it's gone.
That's where I wrote down. This is the Kevin's family babies him, so he never had to do anything, thusly making him a whiny little cunt.
Oh, that's why.
That's where it is. Wow.
Yeah.
That may be the first for the podcast. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're
Well,
welcome.
no, we've disparaged children on this podcast before.
Not with the C word.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need to break down these barriers.
Exactly.
Now it's in every episode.
It's 2023, all right, everyone. Kids can be cunts too.
Yeah.
We'll change the award name to include it. Yeah.
Whiny little cunt award.
It's a sail cunt.
Yeah, I like it. I like the analysis.
Thank you. I do what I can.
Yeah.
Anybody
I've
else?
got one, yeah.
Go for it.
I've got police only care about protecting goods and property. The only time that the police ever intervene in the film is when Kevin accidentally steals a toothbrush and when Kevin calls the cops to stop a burglary.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, tell this lady to, do another head count.
Count kids again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh my God, like my child is home alone. Not my department. And then, that's it.
Yeah.
But the second shoplifter.
Exactly. A toothbrush? I better chase this child.
Yeah.
This 8-year-old. I better try to tackle him on ice.
Yeah. That's why the police were created, to protect property.
Exactly.
So this movie illustrates that correctly.
Beautifully, yeah.
Thank you, John Hughes. You're more subversive than I would have ever given you credit.
Yeah, very true. Then on to the Hans Gruber Deathfall Award.
All of it. All of the deaths.
Well, I mean, this is also kind of, it can be a subjective thing.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's the nail through the foot. That's me, is like the most gruesome, satisfying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Thing.
I guess it is Marley shovel whacking them, which actually takes them down in the end, which is surprising given all that they've been through. But that's the end of the comeuppance, like the nail through the foot of the coffin, if you will.
There's the defeat of Buzz, because you brought it up that he cleans the house, but he doesn't clean Buzz's room.
Yeah.
Remember?
Fuck you, Buzz.
Right? We don't see it at the end again, but what did you do to my room?
Literally the last
he destroys
line of the
it.
movie.
Yeah.
That's also like,
And he was his first antagonist, true antagonist.
Yeah, well put.
what an end to the movie also is just like, he's peering out the window, having this heartwarming, like, and then like, when that happened to me today, I was like, that's not the end, is it? And then that is
The music swells up and the credits.
Like, what?
Yeah, he's still a little shit.
Yeah, I just had paint can concussions.
There you go.
Just because, like, those guys wouldn't have faces anymore if that was real life.
Yeah, it wouldn't have just knocked out your gold tooth.
No.
You need a palate replacement
Exactly.
surgery.
Your nose is in your brain now.
Full reconstructive skull.
Is there another Culkin in this movie?
Is Rory in this one?
Quinn Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's sister.
Whoa.
Which one's she?
She must have been one of the younger siblings.
Oh, is she like the little girl with the bug eyes that's just staring up at the cop? Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Joe Pesci
Yeah,
cop? Yeah.
100%. She never does anything else
it
in the
must
movie,
have
really.
been, yeah.
It's got to be her.
Jeez, they got like the value pack.
Yeah.
They cast Macaulay, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'm getting anything else, Robert, for the Deathfall? Right on.
I mean, it's just all of them. It's the whole thing.
We'll move on to our controversial hot takes.
I've got two, but I don't know if anyone wants to jump in first.
I got a pretty good one, but I'll let you go.
Okay. My big one is Kevin has been indoctrinated into toxic masculinity at an alarmingly young age. He sees himself as the man of the house and must stand his ground, which means never asking for help.
Yeah.
He also has a sociopathic eye for an eye mentality in regards to the burglars, which this is one of my favorite tweets of all time. Kevin could have called the police at any time. He wanted to torture those men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
Said by the late, great Trevor Moore. And then my other controversial hot take is apparently you've got to be a neglectful, abusive, deadbeat piece of shit to be a polka player. Because like leaving the child with a corpse.
They left all their families. Yeah.
One guy's never met his kids. And then there's one guy where it's like, oh, we don't talk about Dave. Like there's just unknown atrocities. Like that guy might be like a predator. We don't know.
We don't know.
Mine is everybody sucks ? Like the beginning of the film, that opening sequence is such a beautiful illustration of like organized chaos, and you like truly see the family dynamics at work. I think Kevin's parents suck because they do not like stand up for their youngest kid or support him or listen to him in any ways. Like, I get it. He also sucks, by the way. He's like a little.
He was raised by them.
He is a little jerk. To be fair.
But I mean, like, does his dad even talk to him? Is there like he says like one thing to him? You know what I mean? Like, it's not really.
No. Yeah. I feel like I had a lot less sympathy for. I mean, Dad doesn't even seem fucking bothered that they left
Dad
Kevin.
really sucks.
Yeah. He's like detached. He's like on pills. He's numb.
Yeah. Catherine.
Dad's a corporate raider.
Yeah. Mom is like fighting her way back the entire time. And even so, I'm just like, yeah, but this is like your fucking fault and you suck.
Yeah.
You suck. And the siblings suck. And, you know, everybody sucks.
Yeah.
Was my main hot take is that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I enjoy Kevin because outside of his family, he starts like his growth journey and he starts sucking less. And that's fun.
Yeah. Even the old man who's like very nice in the movie, he also sucks. He's like, we got in a fight and I said I didn't want to see him again.
And that was,
Your son?
you know, 9
Like,
years ago or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, or longer, yeah.
However old the granddaughter is, it seems like.
So despite the restraining order, you know, it's holy ground, so they're not going to kick me out of the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always
Whatever
weirded
the
me
fuck,
out.
like what? Like everybody kind of sucks.
Well, that's a good presentation maybe for a holiday and a family movie when you are going to be forced to be with family, which for everyone else, it's varying degrees of fun to hell, you know, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think that is an authentic depiction of that, right?
Yeah.
Like in John Hughes, for everything that he's done, he's like, yeah, high school fucking sucks, dude. Like, I made a bunch of movies about how it's like, this shit is brutal, right? It's idealized, but also honest about how much it can be terrible. And it is the same thing with family. Uncle Buck, right? Like, everyone's got a psycho uncle. Like, all of these things are presented. I mean, you're right. Like, no one is squeaky clean here.
Yeah, my hot take kind of takes that and runs with it. And that is, I would have just kept the family in Paris and like just forgot about Kevin because he's doing fine.
Yeah,
because that's a criminal thing. You left a kid behind. You go back and you're probably gonna go to jail. So just stay in, just Polanski it. Stay in France.
Yeah,
uproot your entire life and like just get a house over there.
They're wealthy enough. They obviously can handle it.
So wealthy.
They have enough kids. They don't need another one.
That's right. In nature, the reason so many children are born is because some of them are going to die off, and then it's expected.
Not anymore.
Not Kevin.
That's right. And Kevin's better for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm ostracized, is it time for another Spider-Man? You guys liked the sequels.
I don't think I really enjoy the second one.
I enjoy the like Tom and Jerry, getting over on Harry and Marv of the second one.
I don't like the Pigeon Woman
but
storyline.
There's a lot of the second one that I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, the Pigeon Woman is not a good substitute for the shovel slayer guy.
Also, like, fun Donald Trump cameo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
The second one was the first really good video game they made of this.
Yeah.
That's
There's
what I
a
remember the
video
most.
game?
Home Alone 2 video game
games.
was like one of the better platform Nintendo games from that era.
I think I might have it on my Super Nintendo that's emulated.
Oh, yeah.
Rob Schneider in the second one.
Yeah.
Didn't need all that.
No.
Was it Schneider or was it Tim?
They're both.
Oh,
They're both? They're both.
Yeah, it's Tim Curry and Rob Schneider.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim Curry, yes. Rob Schneider, no, is my opinion.
Oh, gotcha.
They're both in it.
It's a very shared opinion. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen the second one like a couple times and not recently at all.
I liked it a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I think it's worth a rewatch. I think it's got the same heart as the first one.
That being said, we audience at home, we had I threw on the third Home Alone while I was waiting for folks to come over, so we were watching it before we started recording, and that one is super duper fun and like non-canon in terms of like the Culkin aspect.
Sure.
Yeah.
But John Hughes and composer.
It's better than it should be.
It is.
Yeah, it's more of a spiritual successor.
Yeah, it is better than I remembered it.
Which leads me into mine. I want to see a movie that's like a true sequel. I want to see a movie about the person Kevin has become after facing the same traumatic experience twice as a child.
They'd make another $400 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe also he has a child and then that kid is the voice of reason when Kevin's trying to like pick off the home invaders. Like, Dad, no! And it's like, you don't understand. These men are invincible. They will stop at nothing.
Who would you choose to direct this?
That's a good question.
Like an auteur director, like I'm picturing maybe more of like
Panos Cosmato. Like I would go for a little Mandy action.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, that too.
you do it.
Some very fucked up Greek man, basically.
Yeah.
What if it was like more of like a Gone Girl situation and it was a David Fincher Christmas movie?
I mean, well, the way I see it, it's when you experience these great highs as a young person, then you chase them, right? Forever. How do you chase those? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Kevin maybe sets up like an extensive chain escape room franchise, actually, where he is just manufacturing more elaborate booby traps. Oh, maybe it's more of like the game, actually.
Yeah, it's the
game. It starts out as escape rooms, and then, oh, you like this? You seem to excel. Here's the special key for our extra escape
Kevin could
room.
just never get that high again, so he just kept upping the stakes.
Exactly.
Or does he move state to state and like buy wealthy houses and like leave the door conveniently open,
just
right? Like the spider trying to catch a couple flies.
Yeah, Kevin. I feel like Kevin becomes Jigsaw, basically.
Yeah.
It could be also like Island of Dr. Moreau kind of situation.
I'm just picturing now like a scene where an older Kevin walks into the prison hospital to visit Harry on his deathbed and have that weird ending tombstone scene moment.
Wow.
Just
like
pillows him.
Two rivals finally having it at the end, and
yeah, because what does
just kill them with a paint can again?
What does Kevin do when he's 17 years old and they get out of prison? You know what I mean? Do they never go to look for him again? Or does Joe Pesci have an M in his hand and he stares at that shit every single fucking day and he thinks about that little fucking piece of shit? I should have strangled him, right? And does he come for him, right? Because those guys aren't gonna drop it either. Maybe Marv is like, okay, yeah, I'm out.
Also, maybe we like actually dive into the fact that Harry and Marv are immortal.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like Marv couldn't cut it in prison, and so he tried to unalive himself, and it's like, I just couldn't do it, Harry. Apparently, are we vampires?
Yeah. What, the undead bandits?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you could also never mind. That got way too dark in my head. Never mind.
And we'll go on to Here Comes Kanye. Anybody got some pluggables going on? Robert's usually got some, right?
So follow my Instagram at Robert_NEGOESCO. My YouTube channel was pulled down by the internet.
Did it finally happen?
It's gone forever.
No.
Too bad. I was starting again. So look forward to those plugs.
Anime.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep. Never should have done that. I gained so many followers.
He did, and he just kept fucking going too.
I should have pulled it down.
The balls.
I wish you had given me a warning. I didn't know you weren't allowed to. I thought if it told you, hey, you can't have this up, I'm like, oh, okay, I won't have it up, and then it allows it up. So okay, it's up.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate your work. I did watch quite a few of your shows you uploaded.
Thank you. It's gone forever.
I don't have any very deeply personal things, depending on when this comes out. And if you live in Sonoma County, there is a show happening at Spreckles Theater Company in Roanoke Park called The Metromaniacs, directed by friend of the pod, Kevin Bordy.
That's right. Yep. The redneck demon slayer himself.
Yep. That's correct. And I have watched a handful of rehearsals and runs of this. I am also responsible for apparently promoting some of this, which I'm doing right now. I'm doing my job right now.
You can take that off for today.
Yeah. It is called The Metromaniacs. It's written by David Ives, and it's essentially a modern adaptation of in the style of Molière. It's French farce. It is super fun, funny, and just a very enjoyable holiday treat that is non-holiday related. If you are not wanting to see The Christmas Carol for the 5,000th fucking time or anything else, highly recommend it. A lot of fun, good actors, and Spreckles Performing Arts Center in Roanoke Park.
I wanted to promote that anyway, so that's great that you did it. So
SprecklesOnline.com.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
And for us, we got very excited for tomorrow. We finally get our first deck of our playing cards that we made. It's been in the mail for 2 weeks.
We got a tester deck. Yeah. Gonna start a Kickstarter to fund more productions of decks once we, play around a little bit.
I had the idea today of making the box that goes around it look like the VHS cover for the where we got our colors from. So and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a little expensive, but hopefully we can get that Kickstarter made and get a bunch of them made and sell them, get some ready to give out to people as prizes and stuff.
You know, what a great stocking stuffer this holiday season.
Exactly.
Speaking of stocking stuffers, we're also working on a cocktail book, hopefully ready and functional by Christmas.
Yep. I'm everything's pretty much ready to go. I need to put it in book form, and we need to pick which photos we want to take. That's about it.
Cool.
Yeah, stuck that cocktail in your stocking.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But that'll be print on demand, so it'll be available like as soon as it's ready to go. And then we move on to the Sonic Death Monkey top 5.
Yeah, not to bait everyone to listen to the post show on this one, but this category was inspired by Luke's breadcrumbing of his story. So we've got, what are your top 5 movies that got you through traumatic times? I mean, I can kick off some trauma dumping if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Do you want me to weep and do my hole, or do you want to? Yeah. Okay.
Weep and do your hole?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like weep and do my whole thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, weep into your hole.
Oh, that too. I also am very flexible. I can weep into my own hole.
That's whoa. Okay. Now, what movie's gonna get me through this trauma?
Exactly.
Home Alone.
So
Home
I've got
3.
Mm-hmm.
I've got like ascending staircase basically. So I've got light trauma to heavier trauma.
Okay.
My number 5 is Clerks 2.
Nice.
That movie, I was drinking with a friend and we were like hanging out, and he was just like, oh, dude, by the way, I've got these mushrooms. They're super intense. We should take them. And I was drunk and I was like, fuck, yes, we should. And my other buddy who did not want to do mushrooms at all was like, I'll try one. So it was like a party. 3 of us took mushrooms. The guy who gave us the mushrooms was like, oh, dude, I've had these before. They're intense. Don't worry. I'm going to walk you boys through it. Caught a ride home from said party. And so then it was me and my friend high on mushrooms. We were like very uncomfortable inside. So then we went outside. It was pouring rain, wet, very uncomfortable outside. Came back in. We were both like freaking out. Didn't know what to do. I was just like, okay, well, let's just go over here, man. Let's just put on a movie. So like one of the movies that was available was Clerks 2. Put on the movie, laid down, watched it. I had seen it multiple times by then.
Mm-hmm.
Literally use this movie to convince myself that I was like, because, you know, like sometimes if anyone's ever had a bad mushroom trip or just done mushrooms in general, some of the symptoms of the not fun part of the high can kind of feel like you're sick.
Right.
So I convinced myself that I just had the flu or like a fever, and I was having like fever dream issues, and then that got me through my trip.
Yeah, don't take mushrooms when you're drinking.
Yeah, kids. That's right. I was like,
or adults.
18. I
18.
disagree. I think only take mushrooms when you're drinking. You just have to find the right balance.
2 very different PSA rainbows going on here.
I highly disagree.
I highly disagree as well. My number 4 is Drive.
What?
It's descending. So Drive.
You know what? I'm fucking updating my list right now.
Okay.
I didn't come up with traumatic events.
I didn't know what the assignment was.
We didn't really hash this out. My list is kind of off the cuff, but I think keep going. Keep going. Yeah.
So number 4 is Drive. I was living with a roommate. I was single, and I went to Trader Joe's after work to grab like some groceries.
You drove.
I drove.
Whoa.
I did drive.
Whoa.
There was a like cute girl out front of Trader Joe's, like basically doing like some PETA, like Save the Whales kind of thing. And I was like, oh, of course I'll sign your like paperwork and all that.
Because she's cute.
Also I care about the whales.
Sounds like a whore.
But she was very cute. But she's like, oh, by the way, for signing up, you get a complimentary sticker. And she like went off like about, because, you know, like greenwashing and all that, went off about how organic the sticker was, and it was printed on rice paper and all this fun stuff. She's like, yeah, it's like totally safe. You could probably eat it. And then like a 19-year-old, 20-year-old idiot, I just took the sticker and ate it in front of her. And she's like, oh, she gave me a face like, you shouldn't have done that. So I went shopping, got home. My roommate was like, oh yeah, like I just rented Drive. Like it just came out on DVD. We started. I get violently ill, and I am just throwing up for like an hour.
Woo.
Sounds like you shouldn't have eaten that sticker.
I should not have eaten that sticker.
Yeah, the girl was right.
The girl was right. So then me and my roommate...
It was organic. She didn't say it was food.
Exactly. So then me and my roommate watched Drive, and I was so captivated with Drive that I was like, oh, okay. It got me through my stomach ache. I was like, oh, this movie's pretty good.
Wow.
Number 3, Swingers. I watched it after my first big breakup I ever had in my life, and was just deep in depression. And so I saw a parallel with Jon Favreau's character, and the fact that he has good days and bad days, I think, is an important lesson in that movie. It's not just oh yeah, just don't think about her and you'll get over it. It was he has these amazing highs where he's hanging out with Vince Vaughn and doing this stuff, and then he's just shut down.
Yeah.
And he's just a hermit in his room. And then he eventually, through time and just processing, gets over it. And so that was very much helped me get over my breakup at the time. My number 2 is Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Masterpiece.
Yep.
Wayne's Brothers parody genius. It was watching that movie growing up was a general protest of my racist, wasn't a stepdad at the time. My mom is now married to this man, but mom's boyfriend kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, he would say, I'm not going to say words here, so I'll just say very much would reiterate something along the lines of, if you keep watching or listening to this kind of stuff, you'll turn black, basically. It was one of his weird racist kind of things.
Ugh.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't have any issues with black people. So I'm going to keep listening to Nelly. I'm going to keep watching this movie because it's funny.
It doesn't work that way.
No. And then my final one is my number 1 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Whoa.
My parents separated shortly after I turned 4. And I don't actually remember. I would say I would remember, but that's a lie. There's a VHS recorded oh, it's his 4th birthday, kind of thing. And in the video, I received that movie. And it's my mom's happy and people are happy and all that. And it's just kind of this is right. Because they broke up right after my birthday. So it was this is one of the last moments they were kind of happy and pseudo together.
That's gnarly, man.
Yeah. Hey, you picked a gnarly top 5.
Oh, there's more coming.
Okay, I know. Anyway, sorry for hogging the mic for an hour. That was me.
That's great.
I mean, I just wrote down movies. I didn't really have any.
I didn't write about the time that I got
trauma.
Beat up. Yeah.
When I was coming up with mine, that's what I have too. Is my whole world of movies is just dealing life.
It's all of them. I mean, I could point to horror movies being a way to conquer fear. Being a very scared kid and then pursuing, as a small kid, Goosebumps books and all this stuff. But then teenage years, definitely deep into the horror thing. So, and I think that was some way to process, the horrors of life when you're watching people get their faces massacred with machetes and stuff. It's oh yeah, well, I'm doing better than that. Every time.
Yeah.
That actually just opened up a whole other thing for me.
Yeah. That's I think a lot of when I'm sometimes in the past, it has occurred that Chuck will come home and it'll just be Criminal Minds blaring at 100 and I'm asleep on the couch because it's just things could be worse.
Yeah. I know a lot of people respond to dark media and it makes them feel bad. For me, in general, I mean, there is a line where I can just become feeling bad. But in general, I watch dark media and like you said, it alleviates. It's oh, well, I'm not experiencing these things. Okay. So there's this, it almost can bring me out of a funk by exploring someone else's darkness. So there's no specific movie, I guess, with that, but just in general. And then, I mean, we did Addams Family. That's definitely very important just because of the depiction of my parents were never together in my memory. And to see that family, which is the most wholesome, perfect family thing was something I did always want and wasn't really aware of that, how much I like yearned for that until much later, but I definitely would watch that, you know, and it is also, once again, exploring this darkness. And then, I don't know, the other, Wayne's World, I don't know, just made me feel like not an outsider, I think. And then other movies, I just wrote Aladdin and Toy Story and Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. Just because I was like, these all make me feel powerful. I don't know. As a kid. I don't know. I don't think I had a super traumatic childhood. It wasn't until later.
Right on. You want to go, Lauren?
Sure. I initially took the prompt of like, what are your comfort movies? What are things that got you through?
Yeah.
But like over this conversation, I think there were things that occurred to me that were more therapeutic as I got older in terms of just, I guess, representation in a weird way. So I was a, little quintessential bad girl, like little sad Sylvia Plath loving Tumblr baddie. So two things that came to mind were Wrist Cutters, A Love Story, which is slightly comedic, but also really like introspective, like representation of suicidal ideation and also afterlife and regrets and feelings about that. And then another one that came to mind also was Melancholia, which is just, beautiful and batshit. But it also, you get to watch like a character like in and out of depression in like a very beautiful, like psychedelic story. So that was one that occurred to me as well. And then like I also just have my younger life comfort movies, which were The Sound of Music, Little Women, I think it's 94 or 95 with Winona Ryder and Susan Sarandon. That one is just like constantly like absolutely beautiful. Mary Poppins was
a lot of Julie Andrews.
Heavy rotation when I was a child, and I was basically watching my, like, in a pre-cognizant way, watching my parents just like disintegrate and separate like in front of my eyes. But that was something that I just watched constantly, and you see like the family coming back together again. So that was it. And yeah, I think I'll pretty much end there.
Right on. Wrist Cutters has Tom Waits as basically God.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go wrong with that.
That's a good movie. I'd love to
Wrist
do
Cutters.
it.
Yeah. Right on to mine. I won't go too far into what they all mean, because now that I'm thinking about it, these aren't the ones I would pick. But I have Amélie, which was big after a breakup, which is weird because after a breakup, that's the last thing I would want to watch. But I loved Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Jean Caro so much that I would watch Amélie, whatever they made, anything they made. Royal Tenenbaums, after my mother passed away, it was like the whole family thing. It was kind of set to that music, just how it was. Hackers, it's just completely off the cuff, but that was after a breakup. That was a complete distraction, and it was perfect. Full Metal Jacket is, and I think this is how it is for a lot of people, because a lot of people go through the military and boot camp. They watch this because it reminds them of what boot camp was like. Boot camp is a traumatic experience. I had anxiety issues about it for years after I went through it, and that's kind of on purpose. But yeah, that's a Full Metal Jacket. And then number one, it's got to be Home Alone, which I will go into in the post show, but also has to deal with my parents breaking up and stuff like that. But just a tease, it gets way worse. But thank you everybody for sharing. That was that's kind of what this category was for. I always wanted to make it an emotional connection, not just like what are your favorite movies with this person in it. So this is like the ultimate top 5. Right on. So who won the movie?
I mean,
Mac.
Yeah. Gotta give it to Macaulay Culkin. He's like literally 9 years old when he makes this. That's fucking insane. Like I can't process that.
He's a once in more than one generation. Like it's like a once in a century sort of talent. It's explosive. It doesn't even make sense.
The whole family apparently, with Kieran and
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like really, really talented actors.
But for any night, I mean, it is basically unfathomable. I don't understand how he can lead a masterpiece film, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, it's mind-boggling.
I only recently thought about this too. Like, with children, you're only allowed to film them for like 6 hours a day or something like that.
Yeah.
So like they had to find something else to do while they couldn't film Macaulay Culkin.
Burglar stuff in the second half of the day, probably.
Yeah, that must have been a weird schedule to run.
Thank you, ADs.
Yeah.
John Williams.
Oh yeah, going to John Williams again.
The score in this is, I mean, he has such a prolific career, so many like absolute classic masterpieces, essentially. But I think when viewing this today, it was like the musical ties tying it all together, and music has such like an intense like physical impact on me personally when I'm watching movies. That's the thing that'll like push me over the edge if I'm like feeling feelings.
Sure.
So yeah, there in the score there's so much fun and lightness and brevity, and there's also such like a deep emotional synthesis of,
I mean, it's probably
emotional expression.
Why you cry when the mom comes home, right? Because that's a silent scene. It's just the music and us knowing, you know, what she's been holding back this whole time.
What they've both overcome to get to this moment where they can forgive each other and get back to being a family again.
Yeah, and John Williams does kind of own that scene.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's for me.
Sure.
But also Macaulay Culkin is, you know, great.
Yeah.
No,
Obviously.
that works.
Obviously.
We can split the award. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would go Macaulay Culkin personally, but you know, just to be different, I would give it to Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. Just because, like, the Wet Bandits, like, I mean, aside from, you know, the iconic face slap and the, you know, pranks happening at the end. By pranks, I mean horrors of torture. Really, like, what I think of when I think of this film is Harry and Marv.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. On to the verdict. I think it's another obvious one.
that's a goddamn masterpiece. Yeah.
Let live.
Come on.
Right on. Well, then that wraps us up. Thank you for listening, if you're still listening. I've been Luc Londe.
I've been Lauren Heney.
I have been Chuck Starzenski.
And I have been Robert Negoesco.
And we have been the Nostalgia Killers.
Bang, bang.